Alright, so instead of reviewing Jason X first, I'm going to review Freddy vs. Jason first because chronologically this one is the next one in terms of the timeline. And Jason X was released before Freddy vs. Jason, but I really would rather talk about Freddy vs. Jason than Jason X any day. But I think that Freddy vs. Jason is, for me, after a few bumpy movies in the Friday the 13th films, Part 8 and Part 9, I didn't like 8. 9, I actually did appreciate and like because of the balls that they had to make it different and not have Jason Voorhees in it much. And I really thought that the last two, Part 8 and Part 9, I love the first seven, but Part 8 and Part 9, to me, were the ones that were kind of in a slippery slope downwards. And Jason X is the worst for me. So I wanted to talk about this one next, Freddy vs. Jason, because I legitimately love Freddy vs. Jason. People can complain about it, but to me, I feel like Freddy vs. Jason is a great, fun, beautiful, entertaining horror film. And I love that we finally got these two icons together, Jason Voorhees and Freddy Krueger, together on the big screen. And I thought that how they did it, I thought that how they made the typical formula of these movies, how they incorporated bringing them together, I thought it was really cool. I thought it was such an entertaining way to have these characters fight, and I really liked it. I liked the idea of how Freddy Krueger, since in both of these films before this, chronologically, they're both dead. Freddy and Jason are both in hell. And at the end of Jason Goes to Hell, Freddy Krueger's glove grabs Jason's mask and pulls it under. So it hinted at this actually happening. It's been in development since Part 7 of Friday the 13th, where they wanted to make this movie, so they made Jason versus Carrie instead, basically, for Part 7. But since the 80s, they've been wanting to make this movie. And I love the idea that since they're both dead, Freddy Krueger has ceased to become an entity in Springwood, Ohio, and I like how all the kids are not afraid of him anymore. And I like that idea that he brings Jason back from hell, using his mother's id, like he turns into Jason's mother to make him live again. And I like the idea that he goes and starts slaughtering kids, and then that makes them, all the townsfolk, the adults, say Freddy Krueger, so all the kids start imagining what Freddy Krueger who he is. And even though it doesn't really happen in the story, like Freddy wants to be brought back because Jason is killing people, so that will cause the fear to spread and cause Freddy to come back too. But I love the idea that Freddy Krueger he did this, but he did it because, with Jason Voorhees, an unstoppable killer who will not stop at killing. So I like that idea of him trying to bring back the fear of Freddy, but using Jason, who's an adversary that is not going to back down. I thought that's a really cool way to incorporate both of them together. And I liked them going to Elm Street. I like that because the interesting thing about this movie is Freddy is important and Jason is important, but they both have an interesting mix of like important parts. Like Freddy only kills one person in this movie, which I'm fine with, and Jason kills like everybody. But it makes sense, like balancing it in which it's an Elm Street where Jason goes to Elm Street. Since Freddy doesn't kill a lot of people, it makes more sense to have Jason do it, but in Elm Street. So it's like you're not shaming either side of these franchises, because I know that they wanted to have an equal balance with these characters. They wanted to have an equal balance with the plot and how they connect with both of the franchises. And of course there are people that are going to complain about this movie. Every movie people complain about. But this one I thought did a great job of incorporating both of these franchises and showing all of this incorporate the way I just mentioned, like how Freddy brought him back to instill fear in the teens so Freddy could come back, but then Jason won't stop killing because he's unstoppable. And I think that it's just a really cool way to bring them back. And I think that in terms of like the characters, and it's a horror movie, so characters, they don't have much of an arc to them. But I like these characters. I like the personalities of some of these actors. I thought that Kelly Rowland, did a good job as Laurie. I thought I liked her a lot. I thought that she was really interesting, and I thought that she having the connection with Freddy and having the connection with her dad and how her mom was murdered and she thinks her dad did it, and then you realize that Freddy was the one who did it, of course. Well, but I like that connection with how she gets such a hate for him, and that's why she helps Jason out at the end whenever they go back to Crystal Lake, and I think that's really awesome. And I thought the Will character was cool. I thought that it was cool seeing him and his friend just being the only two that actually still dreamed about Freddy. So they were taken to Weston Hills, which was a Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, which is a really cool nod that they brought back that location. Well, not brought back, they made a new location, but it's the same place from the third movie. I think that's really cool, and I think that it's awesome in terms of just plot to bring that back. I thought that's a really cool addition and a nod to the third film. And I like that they're trapped there with having Hypnosil, which stops them from having dreams. And then when they go back, it starts to happen again. But I like the idea of having Will and Laurie separate but when they reunite, it kind of makes sense to why he's gone. And I like how it shows more with this Laurie character and how she is questioning her father and questioning what happened to her mom and questioning Will and why he's been gone. And I like that it all opens up in a way just with all of these characters. I think that's really cool. And all the characters besides like Laurie and Will are all pretty much disposable, but they're all fun. Like Kelly Rowland, I thought that Kia was fun. I thought that she was really great. Oh, Monica Keena is Laurie, is what I said she was Kelly Rowland. I didn't mean to say that. But I thought Kelly Rowland as Kia was fun. I thought that she was a fun, bitchy type of character. And that's interesting to have have a singer as an actress in this. I thought that was interesting. And I heard that they had other actresses that were similar to her, like Pink, that were going to maybe be in this movie. So I think that's funny that they brought in a singer as an actress. So, like, she wasn't bad. She was good, but I like that they do that in these type of horror movies. They bring in like a rapper or a singer just to have the audience go, "Oh, they're in this movie, so I've got to say it now." But I liked Kelly Rowland. I thought she was good. Like I said, Monica Keena Laurie was good. The guy who played Will was good. I thought that all the other characters were basically disposable, but they were fine. They were fun. They were entertaining, and I just thought that the way that they incorporate Jason and Freddy fighting and the build up to the fight is cool because Jason won't stop killing, so Freddy gets pissed and he and him fight it out. And it is one of the coolest versus third acts. And there aren't a lot of versus third acts in in movies like this. I mean, there's Batman v Superman or King Kong versus Godzilla, but I thought this was a really great third act fight. Like, I thought that whenever they fought, it was amazing, and I thought it was so fun and just silly and pulpy, but it really just felt true to these two franchises. Because Freddy is a jokester. Freddy has had serious films, and he's had really cheesy films, and I like that in this film, Robert Englund delivers a good fine line between the two. It's not like Freddy's Dead, where for the most part, it's really just over-the-top Looney Tunes humor in that, as opposed to, like, the first film. I like that he follows such a pretty equal line in terms of tone. Like, he doesn't, like, overtake the humor like Freddy's Dead. It's just, he's just says some quips, and they're funny. And he's funny in it, and he's silly. And Jason, of course, does not speak. And I like just seeing them fight against each other. I think that's really great, and I think that they both having the fight is really cool. Where they're on Crystal Lake and how they find all these different things to try to kill each other with. I think that's awesome, just showing all these different ways that they won't die. And I love whenever Laurie and Will blow up part of Crystal Lake, and they end it on the dock. The movie ends on the dock where Freddy comes over. And I love the shot, too, because you don't know if it's Freddy or Jason. You think it's Jason, because Laurie and Will get out of the water after the explosion, get up on the dock, hug and embrace, and then Laurie sees something coming at her. and you see feet, and then you realize that it's Freddy with a machete. And I love how Jason literally like puts his hand through his heart, grabs it out, and then Laurie cuts his head off. And I think that that was a great definitive end for both of these characters. And I liked how whenever Laurie and Will left, it of course has that ending 30 seconds where you see, oh, they're not, either neither of them are dead, because Jason walks out of the water with Freddy's head, and then Freddy's head winks at the camera like, oh, we're gonna have a sequel. But then it's been 15 years and we still have had no damn sequel. And I really wish that we got one. I wish that we would have gotten that over the remake of Friday the 13th or the remake of Nightmare on Elm Street, because both of them I think are bad. And I really wish that, even if the Freddy vs. Jason sequel was bad, I would have rather seen that than the remakes of either of these, because I don't really like either of them. I can watch them, I guess, but they are not that entertaining, and they are some of the worst of both franchises, both the remakes. And you could have just had a second Freddy vs. Jason, because this movie made a crap ton of money. This was like I don't know how in 2003 what it was ranked in terms of films gross that year, but I know it made a lot of money. I don't know if it made like all the money, but I think that it made a good amount of money that makes sense to have a sequel. And it's so strange that we don't have a sequel to this, and we're just really weird because we've just had remakes for both of these films, which they of course followed the remake fad where we've got all of these remakes. Most of them are awful or bad. Some of them are alright, like the Halloween remake, but for the most part, they're never even close to as good as the originals. And this definitely followed that trend of, oh, we gotta make a remake of both of these films, but we should have done a Freddy vs. Jason 2. We should have had a sequel to this. We should have followed this canon. It just makes me mad. And it makes me mad, too, that Jason X is the last film out of these two in the canon, because Freddy, after this one, there's no more Freddy movies that are in this canon. But Jason X happens after this in 2008. So I wonder if in 2008, 5 years after this movie, if the timeline matches up with the real time in the real world. I wonder if 5 years have gone by. I wonder where Freddy's gone, because Jason is going to be terminated in Jason X in 2008. So I'm curious to what would have happened. And we should have just had a sequel to this. We should have just had a sequel. But overall, this one is just one of my favorite Friday and Freddy movies. I don't know if it's my favorite of both of them, but it is up there. It is such a great, fun movie. It is a beautiful movie, too. Ronnie Yu, who did Bride of Chucky, which is another horror movie I absolutely love, is the director of this, and he's one of those directors that, from these two movies I've seen, I haven't seen all of his stuff, but these two movies I've watched of his are beautiful and stunningly good to look at, and I think that they have such a great entertainment about them. They both have such fun characters, fun story, fun kills. It is gory as can be in this movie, and it is just over the top, but it is great because of that. And I think that this was just a great fitting end for both of these characters. We shouldn't have got Jason X or the remake of both, but this I felt like was the great definitive end for them. And overall, I just thought it's one of the best of both franchises, and I really love it so much, and I really wish we got a sequel. And after this, the only Friday the 13th movie I gotta talk about is the remake, and I'm not excited to talk about it. But the remake is next, I guess.